Hi, my name is Laura Netti, and I'm here to talk to you today about Gestalt theory as it relates to art. First, I'd like to go into what is Gestalt theory. Gestalt theory tries to answer three main questions. What is an object? What is it doing? And where is it going? According to Barnes, the author of An Introduction to Visual Communication, Gestalt theory argues that visual perception is the result of organizing visual elements or shapes into groups. But why study Gestalt theory? Why is Gestalt theory even important? First of all, it helps us to interpret and organize everything we see in the three-dimensional and two-dimensional planes. It is especially important to art because when artists are creating a piece, one of the main concerns is how do you get the viewer to understand what you were thinking? How do you get them to interpret a piece the way that they interpret it to begin with? In order to more clearly understand how Gestalt theory relates to art, I took a trip to the Zimmerli Art Museum to record some artwork and sculptures. First, I'll be going into similarity, which is one of 5 components of Gestalt theory. Similarity in vision occurs when multiple patterns, shapes, or colors are the same. Your eye automatically groups these things together and assumes it as one entity instead of separate entities. In order to achieve similarity in art, artists must repeat a pattern, repeat a color, or repeat a shape. In this example, you can see that the artist has repeated the circle pattern and repeated the color black. The effect is that one does not see the object as a bunch of objects put together, but as one solid sculpture. In this painting, the artist uses colors and lines to differentiate objects. As you can see, the colors and shapes are not very realistic, yet you can still tell that there are 2 people standing in the painting. Unlike the black sculpture we just witnessed, this painting is a lot more visually stimulating to the eye. The artist makes it interesting by switching up colors, but keeping a color scheme throughout the entire painting. The component of continuation describes that objects are in motion and together. This answers the question, where is it going? In this example of continuity, we can see a bunch of lines headed in a downward motion. We tend to group them all together because they are all headed in that same direction, yet in reality, there are 6 separate lines. Artists use continuity to express the question, what is an object doing? In regard to artwork, provenance both stimulates and disturbs the mind at the same time. As you can see in this sculpture ahead, there is a circle with a bunch of sticks and rods sticking out in front. Now, one wouldn't normally think to see sticks and rods in front of a simple circle, but the artist has done it to make a statement. Maybe they're saying something about a world blocked by stress. This sculpture creates provenance as well. As you can see, it's an odd shape. It goes from big in the middle to little at the bottom, then all the way to the floor. The sculpture is a ceiling-to-floor sculpture. Even the height makes it look kind of weird, which is disturbing to the mind and eye. The component of proximity assumes that objects that are close together are often grouped together as one. Proximity also describes that things in background and foreground are separate. Artists use proximity to create dimension in their paintings. As you can see, it differentiates background from foreground. You can see the shore far away, and then the ocean in the foreground. This creates a sense of 3D in a two-dimensional plane. As you can see again in this painting, things get smaller as they move further away. This is not because they are indeed smaller, but because they are indeed supposed to be further away. The component of closure attempts to describe the phenomenon of objects that are not whole. In our mind, we see objects as a full object instead of just half. For example, if you see a circle and it is cut in half, you often assume that it was a full circle and envision a full circle in your head. Closure can be viewed in this painting as you see a half circle heading up and to the left. One can associate the circle as a half of a whole because your brain knows that a circle is half of what that shape is. Artists also use geometric shapes, such as in this sculpture and the next two sculptures, to create such an effect. Artists often use cut or halved geometric shapes in order to deliver such an effect. They know that our brains can complete an object when given part or half of it. As one can see in this painting, all the elements of Gestalt theory are brought back together. There is similarity in that the same shape is repeated, so one associates the painting as a whole. There is also continuity, because the natural flow of objects is far away from you into the background. There is prognance, in that there is a black circle, a black hole, in the middle of the object. Also, the object does not appear to be something that you would normally see in space, which is what the color implies is the location. In regards to proxemics, the object seems to go further back into space. We view it as one object moving instead of three separate objects because it is the same object repeated. Finally, closure happens when we see the black hole in the center, but assume that it is one solid object instead of an object with a huge hole in the middle.